Hey, Dave Cribbs here, lead trainer at Auto Dealer University, and welcome to your Workout Wednesday. Now, traditionally, we normally are talking about all the things within the sales process mechanically that help us grow and kind of gain some new skills. That's what training is all about, right? Having those prepared responses, understanding what to say and what to do and how to structure your deal, keep the deal moving forward, right? And while all at the same time creating some amazing rapport and leading someone to ultimately a decision that's in their favor, by the way, and there's no other logical conclusion other than to move forward, take delivery of your vehicle, right? So that's what we normally train on. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, and we're going to do what I call a business check, because ultimately, hopefully, you've also learned in other parts of Auto Dealer University that we do have a business within a business. If we're an individual salesperson, we have everything, all the resources provided for us, right? We have an inventory, a product, we have financing, we have all these things. We have a desk, we have computers, we have CRMs, we have customer management tools, we have management support, staff support, different departments, right? Service, finance, body shops. We have all these amazing things right there at our disposal. We have this entire business model that we have free reign and free access to, and we get to run our business as long as it's obviously within the parameters of our dealership, right? So, but here's the opportunity. We all agree, and I think all know that the opportunity in sales is unlimited because of that. So are we thinking like an entrepreneur? Here's a time to really check yourself, check your business, and we're going to ask some tough questions today. This is going to be something a little bit different. So here we go. So notice I have on the board up here at the very top, it says open. And what I mean by that, this is something that I heard many years ago that's really served me well. Someone once said, hey, you're really not open. Your business isn't open unless you're in front of a customer. Well, that has not only weighed heavily on me my entire career, but it's something I think that really chases me even on a daily basis. I think about this all of the time. Is my open sign on? Meaning that if you could only turn your open sign on when you're actively engaged with a customer, how often would it be on the neon green, and how often would it be actually off where it couldn't be seen? I think if we're honest with ourselves, most of us, it would be off the majority of the day and only open parts of the day. Now, I'm going to let you off the hook a little bit, because we all know if we go to a football game, it's a 3-hour football game, but there's only 60 minutes on the field, right? When the whistle blows, the time starts. So it's kind of like that. We're not in front of a customer all of the time, but the key is here, how much time can you create to be in front of a customer? The other good news is that as a salesperson, because we are entrepreneurs and have our own business within a business, we actually have creative control for the most part of our time. So what I'm obsessed with, and how I break this barrier, by the way, of what the industry thinks is the golden standard of maybe 20 or 30 cars a month, and now I want to go to 40, 50, 60, or 70 like we see so many salespeople across the country doing because they're thinking this way. I've got to begin to think, how can I get in front of a customer? In fact, let me just stop right here and say this. If you want to have a successful career in this automobile industry and you want to do things that aren't just average or the industry standard, there's one thing that should be your priority above all others, and it's the number one thing that I could give as advice to any salesperson anywhere, probably in any business, by the way, but especially in the auto industry, is that your main objective is to be in front of a customer as often as you possibly can, whether that's on the phone, and we're talking about engaged dialogue, obviously, and we know that we got to make calls to make connections, but to be in front of the customer. That's when your open sign is on. That's how you're going to get results. That's how you're going to get more opportunities. So when we talk about that, now, how do we obtain that, right? We've got to ask ourselves some big questions, right? You guys have probably heard in the past the analogy of a pipeline, right? Having a pipe, you stuff the pipe on one end and things begin falling out on the other. It's kind of a reap what you sow kind of approach, right? Well, if we're not continually stuffing that pipe, prospecting and trying to figure out how to get in front of a customer, we're going to have some gaps there. And unfortunately, most of the salespeople around the country and around the world live on those gaps. Unfortunately, in other words, the gaps are just, they've accepted that that's part of their business. Well, those who are reaching the ultimate goals are not accepting those gaps. they're filling those gaps so that that pipeline is always full and they're in front of customers way more often, right? Not only does it give them more opportunities, and let's just say this, if we had equal talent, right? If we had equal talent across the board, the person who obviously is in front of a customer more often is still going to outperform another person who doesn't have as many opportunities, even if the talent level is the same. In fact, we could even argue the talent level doesn't even have to be the same. It could be less if we're getting more opportunities strictly from a number standpoint. But imagine, just imagine, if we could couple the two. In other words, if we could create many more opportunities, be in front of a customer much more often, but also have a much more talented set of skills and skill level. Well, let me just say this, that the talent comes from the opportunities. In other words, the talent comes from the time spent with the customer, because I've always said this as well. Who's the best trainer in the world? Who's the best sales trainer in the world? It's actually your customer, because we can role play, we can talk, we can learn, we can do all these different things, preparing our skills and skilling up, if you will. But when the whistle blows and we're in front of the customer, that's when we really are taught from our interactions with that customer. So customer's number one trainer. Let's get to the board real quick. All right, and we'll wrap this up very quickly. So here's the business check. Do you have your open sign on? And by the way, it can only be on when you're truly in front of a customer, engaged with a customer. And how many hours, if you really are honest with yourself, how many hours a day is your open sign on? So here's a couple of questions to ask ourselves that if we just really want to truly measure and begin to take steps forward in this area of finding how to get in front of customers as often as possible to have our open sign on, we've got to ask ourselves, who's in your pipeline? We talked about the gaps. I'm guessing there's probably plenty, but here's the thing. We need to know who's in the pipeline. We also need to know how long have they been in the pipeline? How long has that customer been in the pipeline? So we want to find a way to get in front of that customer, right? You can do that, by the way. Today, again, we're not going through so much the mechanics as we are the mindset and the general picture. If you want to find out details to all these other questions, get into Auto Dealer University. If you're seeing this, for example, on YouTube and you're not familiar with how it works, just give us a call. We'll post a link below so that you can find out how to become a member of Auto Dealer University. So the next question is, how many calls can I make? How many calls can I make, right? Obviously, if our number one goal is to be engaged and in front of a customer, we know that the phone is one of the fastest ways in the world to do that. Give me a phone over anything, quite frankly. I'm going to get in touch with some customers, right? So how many phone calls can I make? First of all, you might want to ask yourself, how many am I making right now? That might be a tough question for you to face, but the reality is you got to look at that, and now how many can I commit to, right? I'm going to recommend at least probably 25 to 30, but I'm going to say your ultimate goal really probably should be close to 100 calls a day. Okay, so how many activities can I create and perform? This is another thing, right? Maybe if your pipeline is limited in the phone area for some reason, or there's other opportunities for you to actually reach out and engage with leads. Maybe you have an incoming lead source, which is very common now in the auto industry. And think about I want you to think about and get creative. How many activities can I create and perform that is going to, now this is the key, that not just that I can create and perform, but that I can create and perform that's going to give me an opportunity to be in front of or engaged with a customer. This is what it's all about. And then the last one here, how can I overschedule? How can I overschedule? That's right. That's exactly what I just said. How can I overschedule? In other words, I want to be double booked and triple booked at different times if possible. We'll always find a way. First of all, we're going to have no-shows. We all know that. But we'll always find a way to either bring someone into the deal or handle customers all at the same time. The bottom line is, how can I overschedule? Look, if you're having a problem scheduling your opportunities, that's probably where you need to be, right? So those are the questions we're going to ask ourselves. But let's go back to the main foundation of this training and what it's really all about, and that is the fact of it's a business check, right? It's really looking at your business and saying, hey, am I truly open? Can I truly say that my open sign stays on most of the day? Meaning that I'm in, and the definition of that is being in front of and engaged with an actual customer. And the second thing, of course, is just this whole idea, and I promise you this is really it when it comes to knowing whether or not you are going to be successful now and in the future. And that is your number one priority as a salesperson, is to figure out how you can actually be in front of a customer at all times. How many opportunities can I create in a day or get in front of in a day to make my business work? All right, we'll see you next week on Workout Wednesday. Thanks so much.